Hello, everyone. It is my great pleasure here to introduce you to Crystal Gray, who is so special to me. She has been on my journey. Well, we've been on this journey together since the beginning of my journey. I remember I met her when I was doing my yoga teacher training and wanted to quit. And she got on a call with me, really helped me stay on the path and really motivated me. And since then, we've collaborated through numerous online communities, memberships. We've been through it all. So I'm so grateful for you, Crystal. And I do want to say that my very first Zoom call was with her, and I was so like, my name is. So thank you for all the encouragement and tips you've given me.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm so happy to have you here talking to us today about crafting your morning practice. You want to share a little bit about you for those who don't know you?
Yeah, so like Melly said, my name is Crystal Gray. I'm a yoga teacher, an ERYT 500, if that means anything to you. I've been teaching yoga for a little bit over 15 years now, I think. So pushing 16. And I've owned a yoga studio, and then I sold that, and then I really started focusing on online because I found that my voice just wasn't big enough. I couldn't create as much of an impact as I wanted just at a local studio. And so that's whenever I started my Facebook group, the Yoga Goddess Collective. And that's whenever I started, I met Melly and then brought in some other people. And it was just a really amazing collaboration. And it's funny because I've really come kind of full circle now and am focusing on a lot of that stuff again. Even though I've always been focusing on it, I did veer off and focus more on leading yoga teacher trainings online because I felt that there was a huge need for it. And I think I'm really good at it. And so I loved doing that and just getting all the feedback from my students and how much I've helped them. But now it's really exciting to be focusing and sharing these things that just really light me up on my spiritual path. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. And where are you located for, because I know
Yeah.
sometimes you do retreats and things like that.
Yeah, so I'm located an hour and a half of south of Chicago. My husband and I have an organic vegetable farm, and this is also where we both grew up. I've lived in Los Angeles and Chicago, and then never thought I'd be back here, but yet here I am. And, I'm really, really grateful for where I live now, especially in this time. So, yeah, very grateful.
That's awesome. And so you've been doing yoga for a while, meditation, all of that. Do you mind sharing a little bit about how you found yoga
Sure.
and all of this?
Sure. So I was always really seeking spirituality since I was really little. I remember in church just kind of questioning things because me and my mom and I went to church at most Sundays. She went every Sunday, still does. And I just remember questioning things and I wasn't really allowed to question things. And so as I grew older, I really started looking into different religions, trying to find which religion could be mine. And then a lot of pieces from different religions made sense to me, but nothing conclusive. And so whenever I started doing yoga, I just realized, oh, all the answers are within me. And that's really my guiding principle whenever I teach yoga and whenever I lead yoga teacher trainings is just to empower my students that they do have everything within them. It's just really about tapping into that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, being the seeker, right, and finding the answers for yourself, and then that brought you here. That is
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, what would you say yoga has done for you and like the benefits that you found?
It's done so much. And the thing about yoga too is it works kind of in a way where you might not even realize that it's working, but it's working on such subtle like energetic levels and emotional levels. And that's what I think a lot of people don't really realize. I know that I started it whenever I first started it, it was at a gym. It was at a Gold's Gym, it was called. And it was very I loved my teacher. It was very fitness, but she still brought in, some of the yogic principles, which I appreciated. And it was just enough to keep me hooked. And, I was in my early 20s whenever I started yoga. And so for me, I really wanted that physicality because had it been like a gentle yoga or even meditation, I wouldn't have done it at that point. And that's why it's really important to me to accept all forms of yoga, because in the yoga world and in spirituality, people can get kind of on their high horse and like, oh well, you do that kind of yoga, and I really don't like that, because all types of yoga are going to meet people where they're at, and I wouldn't be here today where I am now if I didn't begin in more of a fitness based yoga. And yeah, I mean, it's helped me a lot to uncover a lot about addictions, and release a lot of shame and guilt around that as well. And it's really helped to open my eyes to see that I am enough and I can be a yogi, even if I don't always live a yogic lifestyle. I think that when we look on Instagram and social media, or at other teachers, we think, oh well, they're so perfect, how I can't ever be that way, so I'm not even going to go there. And it's like, I tell my community, sometimes I do drink, sometimes I smoke cigarettes. Like, I don't love that I do that, but I share it with them because I'm a real person, and I want them to know, if I can do yoga, like you can do yoga, and just breaking
Exactly.
down those ideas of perfection, because they don't exist. And the people that act the most perfect are usually the most screwed up. I won't cuss.
It's totally fine if you're okay. Yeah, I mean, I also started in a gym, and there was like just so much more to yoga that I didn't realize. And that's one of the things too, that one of the many things that drew me to you was your authenticity, and sharing, from a place of being genuine, authentically wanting to care for your students. And because there was nothing to gain from you getting in a conversation with me when I was doing another training, but then that led me to you because I saw how much you cared, and I ended up taking a lot of your programs and trainings. So yeah, I appreciate that, and I know your students do too.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that background and how much it's helped you. Do you want to share now how you craft your morning routine? I will pin you here.
Yeah. So I have a lot written down, and we'll just try to fit in what we can. If you have any questions, let me know. So with a morning practice, is also known in the yoga world as a morning sadhana. And it's the difference is between I see morning practices and sadhanas, that sadhana is for the spiritual seeker. It's for spiritual purposes. And some of the reasons why I think it's important is that it really helps you to take advantage of that special time when you're kind of in between like asleep and awake. And it helps you to connect to your true self and really get tapped into what is true for you before you start going in the day. It can help you to slow down, which is something that most of us need. And it can help you to develop other good habits. I know that if I start my morning off with a morning practice, that it really is a lot easier to eat healthier, to drink more water, to do other positive things throughout the day. It just kind of keeps me a little bit more aligned, spiritually, mentally, physically. And it helps me to be more productive. And I think a lot of times, I don't know how many of your audience is entrepreneurs, but regardless, if you have families or, we all have so much to do. And I think that we feel like if we don't just start the day and hit the ground running, that we're going to get less done. But actually it helps you to get more clarity on what's really important, what really needs to be done. And it makes you more productive when you start doing those tasks. Those are some of the things that I've found, and some specific things that have really helped me is, like I said, to be way more productive. I know my husband would walk in sometimes and I'd just be like laying on the ground, like listening to a yoga nidra or something, and he's out working his butt off in the field. And it's like, hey man, I didn't tell you that you had to be a farmer. I didn't tell you had to do backbreaking work. Like, this is part of my job. This is part of keeping me mentally and emotionally in balance. And so I love that I've created that kind of job, but it needs to fit into everybody's life because it can help in all areas. I found that it just helps you to get into more ease and like into a more state of flow, into alignment. It helps me to track things way more easily. It gives me clarity on my days and my goals, like goals for the day and throughout the day. And yeah, it really does help me to treat my body better. So any questions before I move on to the next section?
No, I mean, I okay. love all the benefits and everything that you're sharing.
Okay, cool. So some of the things I think that it's important to remember is that it's definitely not a one size fits all approach. I think that we could be like, oh, well, Crystal, she wakes up, and this is not me right now, but whenever I'm really on top of it, I would meditate for like 50 minutes. People are like, oh, hell no, like I can't do that. So I'm not even going to do it. And it's like, I didn't start off with 50 minutes. And like I said, I'm not at a point right now where I'm doing that. I'm ramping up to be doing that really soon, but I think it's definitely okay to kind of ebb and flow and really listen intuitively to what you need and what you're feeling. And I'm going to get into some of that in a little bit too. And also, very short little things that you can do every day, they really add up. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I go to my one yoga class a week or my one, meditation or whatever, and then like that's kind of it. But I really think that all these things that you're doing at home every day, they add up to a lot more than just a 1 hour yoga class or whatever a week. And I also think it's important to remember that they can be very short in the beginning. Like I said, I started with 5 minutes of meditation. Then I went to 7 minutes, which seemed like a huge jump. I'm like 7 minutes. Then I went to 12 minutes, 12 minutes. And then I could do an hour and 15 minutes. I've been on retreats where we meditated 3-4 hours. So, but I did not start there, and I would have ran the other way had somebody pushed me there a long time ago. They could be completely individualized. And like I said, I think it's important to know that it's okay to switch it up and be like, this really isn't fulfilling me right now. I'm going to switch it up to something else or try something new. And then also the last really important thing, it's so important to do it right when you wake up before you get on your phone. That is the key, because as soon as you get on your phone, that completely switches your brain and it gets you tapped into everything that you have to do the rest of the day. A lot of people get stuck in comparison, and it just makes you feel like crap before you even start your day. So don't look at your phone first.
That's great advice.
And I know it's something that a lot of people really work on and they really want to do, even if it's 5 minutes. If you have that kind of, a lot of us have that addiction, we just wake up and do that. So just start with 5 minutes. And here I was going to give you guys some common, I don't want to say excuses, but common issues that come up around this that I've had a lot of people tell me. One of them is getting disturbed. So it could be from family, a partner, it could be pets. Okay. So here's the thing with your family. Probably won't work with your pet, but you want to prepare them, right? You want to tell them, listen, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to, wake up every morning or whatever. I'm going to get into different times that you could do it later, but just let them know what's going to be happening, because it's too easy to be like, well, but just my family won't let me. I can't do yoga at home because my family won't let me. And it's like, eventually they'll learn and they're going to see how much it benefits you, and that's going to benefit them.
And for the I just wanted to share for the pets, what I've been doing is I'll bring Benji will jump on me, but then when I get on my mat, like I'll be petting him, and it's kind of also an additional meditation to be petting him.
Definitely.
And chill. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a very calming thing to do. You get benefits and they get benefits too. And, even if they don't know it at first, they'll eventually learn it too.
Exactly.
I would also suggest to wear headphones. This is really good because I know in my house it can start to get kind of loud. So just putting in headphones so that you don't hear anything. I also lock the door. I lock the door to my guest bedroom, and then I do my meditation. And find a place where you're least likely to be disturbed. So if my husband's not still asleep, if he's out of the bed already, I'll do it in my bedroom because it's nice and warm. And I think people think, oh, well, I have to like get up and go to like my meditation cushion and you're so warm and cozy in your bed. That's the last thing I want to do. So I'll just go in my warm, cozy bed and do it there. Could be your basement, could be a guest bedroom, could be your living room, could be a bathroom. I don't know. Just find whatever works for you and wake up earlier than everybody else. Not having time is one. So like I said, start small, and also, and you can add time. So maybe 1 week or 1 month, you're at 5 minutes. And then the next week or month, you add 5 more minutes. And, just start going like that until you find a time that works for you. I would also write down why it's really important to you. Like, do you want your life to stay the same, or do you want different results? Because I'm sure you've all heard that quote. It's like, you keep doing the same thing, like you're going to keep getting the same results, right? So if you're going to keep doing the same thing, don't expect like other things to happen. You have to change it up. You have to switch it up, because your brain doesn't want you to do anything uncomfortable. So as soon as you start doing things that are uncomfortable, it's like, what are you doing this for? You need to get up and fold the clothes, or you need to check your phone, or you need to go to the bathroom again, or, you know, you need to do all these different things rather than doing. That's why starting small, and you're really reprogramming your mind. So other times you could add it in throughout your day would be, I would still suggest we're starting with 5 minutes regardless, no matter what, in the morning. But if you wanted to add more time, just any time when you feel like, when you're going to pick up your phone and you're going to mindlessly scroll, that's time it's kind of wasted, right? So you could do this instead. And you could think of any other things that maybe you do that waste your time. I don't know, watching TV, or, I mean, it's not always a waste of time, I'm not saying that, but you know, just see where you could fit it in. What are some things that you're doing that you don't really need to be doing? And, you know, the laundry and the dishes and all that stuff, it can wait. Like the house isn't going to fall apart because you're not doing that stuff, right? Same thing with your business and replying to messages and all of that.
Exactly.
Another one is,
sorry, you can also
That's all
see
right.
it as a pause, like a reminder that you are instinctively going to grab the phone or the TV, and maybe, yeah, you still want to scroll, or if you have a business and you have to be on there, but maybe do a couple of minutes of the pause and reflection and meditate, and
Totally.
then go off
Yeah.
and scroll for
Perfect.
a time limit.
Yes, exactly. That's a really, really good idea. Some of the other excuses, just a couple more, are like feeling bad for spending time on you when you should be doing other things. Listen, you're going to show up way better in the world. You're going to be happier. Those around you are going to be happier. You're going to be more productive. All that, it's you just have to remember that. I keep that in mind. Not knowing where to start, well, that's not going to be an issue after today. Okay. I'm kind of breezing through some of these things because I do want to keep this short and sweet. So I'm trying to keep out some of the things that maybe aren't as important. Just really trust yourself, do what feels good. I already said that, but do push yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay. Don't let the ego be like, nah, you know, you don't really need to do that today. So you do have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, but do what feels comfortable. Does that make sense? I just totally contradicted myself, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, do what makes you feel comfortable, but still, you know, challenge yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, some people say, well, I already wake up at like 4:45 a.m. And it's like, well, dang, you know, but you can wake up 5 minutes earlier. You're already waking up at 4:45. Come on, you can wake up a little bit earlier than that. For those of you that keep pushing the snooze, I mean, I've never been a person that does that, but I think it's just really good to remember to remind yourself, why are you doing this? And maybe you even start with 2 minutes a day. Okay. I don't know, whatever's going to make you start doing it. And then some other times, if you can only fit in 2 to 5 minutes or whatever, first thing in the morning, another really good time to do practices like this that I find really helpful is like around the 3 to 5 p.m. mark, like whenever you get home from work or get done working from the day, to kind of help you transition into the evening. That would have been a time where, like in the past, I would have picked up a drink. But instead of doing that, then I'll do, you know, a half an hour yoga, do some journaling, do things like that, just to help me kind of unwind in a healthier way. And so then I can be, you know, off of work for the rest of the day. It's harder when you work at home because, you know, you're always in your office and basically, so it's a good way to transition. And then also right before bed, that just really helps you to just kind of reset before bed. All right. So now, before you start your morning practices, I would get up, go to the bathroom, and then I was going to show you some things that I do. So I can't start my day without my tongue scraper. I would much rather forget my toothbrush, which I forget all the time for some reason whenever I'm traveling, but I rarely forget my tongue scraper. So if you guys haven't done this, I highly recommend it. I'm not going to show you how to, well, I will. You go, and then you just pull it down on your tongue and it pulls all the nasty gunk off. And it's an Ayurvedic practice and it removes debris, bacteria, and toxins. And it says that it's related to different parts of your body too. So you're really stimulating your tongue. But if you don't get that stuff off of there, it can like be reabsorbed into your body and into your gut. So you really want to get it out. Some people use a toothbrush, like either the front or the back of it, but that also just kind of puts pushes it back in. So I would use this, get it off, rinse it, and then just do it a couple times. Just try not to gag yourself. You'll get used to it. And then another thing you can do in the bathroom before you go to sit back down for your morning practice is Nasya oil. So it's just oil. It's another Ayurvedic practice that you can use. I usually use just my like doTERRA coconut oil because it's liquid, and I'll use it and just kind of like put it in, rub it around each nostril and kind of sniff it around. That is, the nose is in direct relation, they say, to consciousness and also to the flow of prana throughout the body. So if you're not breathing well through each nostril, then that could affect your pranas or body's energy or chi to flow. It's also said to promote clarity, releasing tension in the head and relieving pent up stress. So it's a win-win. And then I like to kind of go in the order of this. Like I like to do things that don't take as much brain power, that won't wake up the mind. So when I first wake up, I would much rather do, say, alternate nostril breathing, meditating, things like that you don't really have to think about. Before I would do things like journaling. Now, let me say, because you focus a lot on dreams, I would do dream journaling first, because you probably want to do that before you meditate because you don't want to forget, right? So then just write that down and then you can start everything else after it. So that's what I put first, was dream journaling. And these are just some ideas, and I'll tell you what I generally do in my ideal morning practice, which doesn't always happen. But so after, if you're going to do dream journaling, then I would do meditation. And this can look a lot of different ways. So it could be guided, like on Insight Timer, or, whoever, if people have it in their membership, whatever. You could do silent. And I just wanted to clarify, a lot of times people think that meditation is clearing your brain, but I do not believe that. It's not emptying your mind. It's not clearing your brain. It's having one pointed focus. So you could be focusing on your breath. You could be focusing on an area of your body, an affirmation, a chakra, anything really, just really having that one pointed focus and continually guiding it back. You could do it with music or binaural beats. I like to use binaural beats on YouTube, but I don't usually just set like a YouTube and then meditate to it unless it's timed, because if I set a timer on my phone, it scares the crap out of me when it's over. So I usually use Insight Timer, just the free one. And I will set up a timer that way, because you can set like a music to play, or like the ohms, which I really like. And then it'll do a little, you can even set what the timer bell is. It can be like a bell, or, different things that aren't so like, won't freak you out whenever it goes off. Gratitude journaling, love this one. If there's anything to add, if none of the other things have sounded good so far, definitely start with this. Gratitude is the biggest thing I think that can change your life most immediately. And then after you journal about it, you can close your eyes and then actually feel it. Maybe you even bring your hands like to your solar plexus in your heart, or both on your heart, whatever, or like lotus mudra, I don't know. Bring it in and really feel those feelings of gratitude, because it can just be another thing to get off of your list. Like, oh, I'm grateful for this and this and this and this. But if you feel it, that's really what's going to start changing your life. It'll attract more things for you to be grateful for, and just help you throughout the day to notice things that you're grateful for instead of noticing things that you think suck, right? So it's a really good way to change your thinking. Same thing with manifest journaling. I do this one a lot as well. So usually I'll do my gratitude. I want to get in a state of gratitude first, and then I'll do manifest journaling, which is just what I call it. I used to call it dream journaling, like, your dream life. But if you say it's like your dream life, it's like, it seems like something you can't have, right? Like it's hard to obtain. So instead I call it manifest journaling, and writing those things as if it's happening now. So in present tense, like, I am a famous yoga teacher. I have a really successful app, whatever it is. Then again, some of those things might be hard to believe. So you can close your eyes, and you could even be grateful for them. Be grateful that you've obtained those things, or that they've come, whatever it is. And it could be a feeling too. Maybe you just want to be more content. Bring that feeling in. I really like to use, I think that there's still this app. I use the Hay House Vision Board app. It's a really good one. You can basically go anywhere online, take a screenshot of anything that makes you feel good. Maybe it's a woman on a mountain doing this. I don't know, some beautiful location. Maybe it's a car, a perfect kitchen. I don't know, whatever it is, or a family. I don't know, whatever you want. And then you can put it on this app. And then the really cool thing is that you can print it out. So this is a lot easier to do than, say, going through a magazine and trying to find every image of things that you want, because it's just easier to connect, I think, and find exactly those things that will inspire you. And if you're like me, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Melly. I'm very visual. So I like to look at my image and then I close my eyes and then just see all those images, see me living this life, see me using that car, see me going to this place. Things like that. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that for the Hay House, I don't know if the app still exists because I remember you taught me that one. But in case if it doesn't, I have also been using Canva and doing it like the size of my phone. And then using that as my vision board, like as a screensaver or the wallpaper, because you're always
yes. Yes, I have that. Well, you're on my phone right now, but mine is, I am a famous yoga teacher. And,
Yeah.
I kind of get embarrassed, like whenever I go to certain places, because I don't want that to pop up. I'd rather it be on my home screen so that people have to unlock it to see it. But yeah, that's a really, really good idea. Because how many times do we pick up
you're
our
freezing
phones?
up. I think it's me.
Oh, okay. Am I good now?
Okay, you're back.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I think it's me. So yeah, I was just gonna say that. And I think you're the one that taught me to put a picture of yourself in the middle of your vision board, right? Because that way you're like bringing in that you are the one bringing in that vision board, right?
I don't know if
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if I ever saw that. It sounds like something I would say, but I don't remember saying that, but I will do that from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Really good ideas. But you could write it down too. There's just something to be said about writing. And I also really like to have really nice pens. Like I like to use bullet journaling pens because I don't know if you're like me, but I just like the sound. Like I like writing. It feels good and it feels different with different pens. Like it feels more special to use one of those. Another idea is morning pages. So this is basically free writing, like 3 pages, just whatever is in your head, whatever. Don't think about it. Just write it all out. This is a good one I just learned from my therapist, and it was list the things that you love about yourself. So that's a really good one. Praying could be one. Chanting out loud could be one. Mantra practice with or without a mala. So maybe in case you don't know what a mala is, here's an example of one. This is what all my YTT graduates get. And so this is something that also that I learned from someone in my community. She said that you could even start with just half. So I like to do a mantra in the morning, but I don't like to spend that much time on it, but I'll just take half and then just do half. So that it could be a Sanskrit mantra, like Om Namah Shivaya, anything like that. And you can Google it to find one that resonates with you, like the meaning, but it could also be an affirmation. Deep breathing or pranayama practice. So if you're newer to pranayama and you just want to do deep breaths, that's fine. I would say inhale, low ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs, just expanding, exhaling, upper ribs, mid ribs, low ribs. That's what I usually teach. But also if you want to take it a little bit deeper, alternate nostril breathing. So the left and right nostril have to do with the lunar and solar energies in the body, and the feminine, the masculine, the more active and the more like restful, grounded. And so it's really important that both sides of the nose are that are kind of cleared out, because throughout the day, we do breathe through the different nostrils at different rates, like depending on what time of day it is, whatever we need, but it could be a little bit out of whack. So by doing that in the morning, it really creates a nice sense of harmony and balance, and it connects left and right hemispheres of the brain and just really harmonizes everything. And it balances Ida and Pingala, if you know anything about the nadis. Okay, affirmations, like I said. Sometimes with affirmations, it's hard because people are like, but I don't believe that. So if you're saying, I am a famous yoga teacher, for example, and you're like, oh, but there's no way I could do that. If there's part of you that doesn't believe it, then just say something like, I am open to feeling ready to be a famous yoga teacher. I am open to receive whatever it is, because I think that takes down, it's not like directly challenging your belief system. You could read sacred literature, oracle cards or tarot cards. I don't know much about tarot. Honestly, I had a set and it was really beautiful, but I gave it to one of my friends because I don't have the patience for it personally. But I do love oracle cards. And so this is Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light oracle cards. These ones they're my go-to right now. But before that, some that are really good are the I don't even know if these are for sale anymore because they're Doreen Virtue. I don't know, but they're the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards.
I have that one, and yeah, I do readings for the membership too. So
They're
if
so
you don't
good.
even have them, you can just scroll through our past readings and just something will resonate, right? You can just
Totally. Whichever one you watched, that was the one that you were supposed to watch, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You could work through a spiritual or personal growth book. So I was just going to show you the one that I've been working on. If you have any addiction issues, this is called the Mindfulness Workbook for Addiction. And this one is freaking awesome. Even if you're not addicted to, say, a substance or alcohol or whatever it is, it could be the phone, it could be relationships, it could be whatever. This is an amazing book. So I just wanted to share that as well, because a lot of people in my community were interested in that. Dry scrubbing or Abhyanga. So dry scrubbing just with a dry brush. You do that before you get in the shower, get all the dead stuff, skin off, blah, 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 work in circles towards your heart. Really helps with your blood circulation. And then you can put on the warm oil afterward. I don't usually warm mine because I don't own a microwave and I'm not going to do it on my stove. So, but you could warm it up and put that on, or just put it on cold, whatever. There are different oils that resonate more or balance out more the different doshas, if you know about Ayurveda, but a lot of times I'll just use that coconut oil, the doTERRA coconut oil. You could listen to something positive or spiritual on YouTube. So this is a really good one, even if I'm like, oh, like I don't even want to do anything spiritual. Like I'm out of alignment and I don't even care right now. Like sometimes you just don't care. You're like, whatever. I just want to be a freaking human for a minute. Okay. And so something that I'll do is listen to YouTube. And a lot of times I really like to listen to Abraham Hicks. So I'll just put in Abraham Hicks and then like whatever I'm struggling with that day, anything. And then I listen to that and it makes me feel better. You could take a mindful bath or shower. So this is something I do in the shower. I'll put on my tunes. Jams always make me feel good. So I just listen to like the Elton John station on Pandora. It's really good. It's a lot of 70s stuff. So I'll listen to like that or just anything. I also like French music, because I don't know why. Must have been lived in France in my past life. I don't know. But so then I'll also dance in the shower. And sometimes I'll even do really, really weird, stupid movements. Nobody's watching you. And the thing about dancing and moving like in weird, stupid movements is that it can help you to release energy from your body. And it can actually like pent up energy, old traumas, wounds, stuff like that, but help you get more in touch with just how to do that, right? So you can just start moving. Whenever I would do those really long meditations, sometimes in my body just will start like doing really weird stuff. It would freak me out, but I know that it's normal, so it doesn't freak me out. And it just starts moving on its own. It's like it's releasing stuff that you don't need anymore. This is something also I do in the shower. I write my affirmation on the door because we have like a glass door. So I write my affirmation, like I am whole, I am abundant, I am enough, whatever I feel like I need to hear that day. I do that every day. I can't get out of the shower if I don't do it. Obviously, yoga. Okay. You could do a vigorous practice if you want to, some sun salutations, or you could do a full 30-minute flow, whatever, or you could do like 1 to 2 restorative poses. Maybe you lay back and do Supta Baddha Konasana. Your spine is laying back on a pillow and you got the soles of your feet together, your knees out with blocks under it, something like that. Hands can be on the heart or the solar plexus. Just some deep breathing. Tai Chi, that's really good to get the energy moving and just, get yourself balanced, release stuff. In your shower also, I don't know why I put this down here, but you can imagine the water pulling and draining away anything you no longer need. So they say in the bathtub that actually, like if you're going to do a ritual in the bath, to let the water drain out while you're still in it. So just letting it kind of pull everything away. And at the very end of all of this, then you can write down your 3 to 4 main things that you want to get done that day. We don't want to start off with that because it's going to make us think about it, but do it at the end of this. So it's like, what really needs to be done today? Because I know for me, my list is never ending. I mean, I could work for 12 hours straight and still not be done with my to-do list, you know? So really figuring out what the most important things are for you to do that day. Like, okay, I'm going to get those done. And then if I get other stuff done, great. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, limiting yourself to like the top 3 things, 1 to 3 things that absolutely have to be done, because then you're gonna feel more empowered once you cross them off, and
Exactly.
anything else is bonus.
Exactly. 100%. So I know that we're getting towards the end of our time, but I think we're almost done. So whenever I'm feeling like out of alignment and have derailed myself from my morning practice, I do notice a big difference. And like I said, in those times, I cut myself some slack and just do the bare minimum. Like right now, the things I'm doing are dancing in the shower, listening to my music, anything that's going to like raise my vibe, right? That's what I focus on, and listening to those Abraham Hicks, and also audiobooks. I freaking love audiobooks. I'm listening to The Convoluted Universe right now, which is really good. I can't remember the author's name, but she's super famous. She does a lot of past life regressions, but I'm not always in the mood for that. Like I tried listening to it for a while ago and I'm just like, but now I'm like, yeah, totally into it. Okay, so this is what my ideal morning practice looks like if I'm on, okay? I get up, I go to the bathroom, I scrape my tongue, and then I get back in my bed or go wherever I'm gonna meditate, and then I meditate for 20 to 50 minutes. And if I'm gonna meditate silently, like I'll use the Insight timer with the music, then a lot of times I'll set up a timer for 5 minutes, I'll do gratitude, 5 minutes I'll do dream life, manifest life, 10 minutes I'll do silent with just the music, and the bells go off. Then I'll go grab my coffee. Then I come sit back in my bed. Then I will do the oil thing. Then I'll do alternate nostril breathing, silent mantra with half of my mala, gratitude journaling and feeling, manifesting, journaling and feeling, and then the oracle card pull of the day.
I love that. I love your ritual. I love how real you kept it, for those days where we don't want to. And so my question for you is, that was your ritual if in a perfect world, right? If you can, all the things you want to do. What about your bare minimum, the things that you're like, I don't feel like doing it, but I know that I at least have to do these 2 to 3 things? What would that look like for you?
Honestly, it's just what I said about listening to the Abraham Hicks stuff, because that always gets me back into alignment, and listening to my music and singing. I love singing. I'm not like great at it, but I love it. And it's always helped me to move my energy. So I just make sure that I do those things. I drink a good amount of water. Those are the things that I make sure I do. And some people might be like, what? Well, that's not, I never even thought about that for a yoga, like a morning practice, but it's anything that'll lift your vibe.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I want to, I love all the recommendations, people can now grab from whatever resonated and craft your own ritual. And I would just advise too, I like having like 2, like the ideal, if I had all this time, and really needed to get myself back on a weekend, maybe when you don't have to like get back on to work or whatever, but then also have that bare minimum that like, I know I need to move my body some way. I have Insight timer as well. I set it for 3 minutes, complete silence to check in my body, and then maybe a couple sun salutations, or just get on my mat. My mat is always out, so I can do child's pose and just move however I need, and then grab an oil to really get me going. So having a bare minimum that you turn to every single day, and also being flexible, because for a long time I had like this very strict, there's a book that uses, I think it's the Miracle Morning, the Savers.
Yeah.
And it's an acronym, and I use my own like powers, and each one was like prep, oracle, workout, whatever. And sometimes we're always fluctuating. So sometimes you don't need to have all that, or sometimes it becomes a chore if you're like, I'm working on this workbook that has all these prompts and things like that. Those have a good place if you feel very like stuck and don't know what to write, but really just having a blank notebook where you can write like the morning pages, like you said, having, your yoga mat where you can move intuitively. You don't even need a YouTube to scroll
No.
and find a YouTube.
Yeah.
Things like that. We can simplify it on the days that we need it more simplified. So just wanted to throw that in there.
100%. Well, it's just another way for you to really start trusting your own intuition. Like, what do I feel like I really need? Instead of being like, well, this is what she does. That's what they do. So that's what I have to do. Otherwise I suck. It's like, no, you don't. You listen to your intuition. It'll guide you, and it'll guide you more clearly. Maybe even in the beginning, you want to draw an oracle card, or if you don't have an oracle card, you can even take a book and flip, like a spiritual book maybe, and flip to a page and put your finger there and see. That's another way to do it, and see that could give you some guidance if you just have no idea, where to start.
Yeah. And I like how you mentioned the book that you're drawn to right now. Because sometimes I'll be like, I want to read one book every month. And then the one that I'm drawn to in that moment just becomes like a chore, because I don't want to learn so much about past life regression or whatever.
Right.
I just want something inspiring. So it's okay to leave that one, go to something that you feel you need in that moment.
Totally. Oh, and the other thing, I guess, Melly, that is a non-negotiable is deep breathing. So I do that tons of times throughout my day, even a sigh. My family always like, what are you sighing about? I'm like, nothing. I have to take deep breaths sometimes and release my energy. I didn't really notice that I did it until they told me. So it's always like just coming back to my breath, just taking a second to breathe.
Yeah. And especially too, you're so creative and have like these big visions. I remember working with you, like we would bounce back ideas back and forth, and that like fueled me too. So those deep breaths to get you grounded, all that Pisces energy would definitely help.
Well, and the Vata energy. So if you do want to learn more about Ayurveda, that can also be a really good way for you to help you with your morning practices. Like, okay, well, I'm very Kapha, so I probably really need to get energized and do this or that. You might do more breath of fire, right? Or something like that. I'm Vata and I'm just, so I really need to get grounded. And so that's really what I do. And I think a longer practice helps with that too. But maybe if you're Kapha, maybe a shorter practice, more vigorous, getting up, doing that yoga, that's going to help you.
Exactly. Well, thank you for giving all of these amazing tips and advice. I mean, I'm going to rewatch this and take more notes as well. And I also wanted to ask one last question that I like asking, our guest speakers is, what advice would you give a previous version of you, like the one that didn't know about yoga meditation? What advice would you give her, or anybody that's beginning?
Around this subject, or just in general?
In general, what's the first thing that came up?
Love yourself more and cut yourself more slack. Like, everybody's fucked up, and one way or another, you're fine. That's probably what I would say to myself. Like, you're good.
I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful advice. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Well, it was a pleasure chatting with you, Crystal. How can people learn more from you and find you?
Sure. Well, first they could check out my book. It's called Goddesses Fart Too. So yes, you heard me right. Goddesses Fart Too. There it is. Yay. That's me. Oops. And so that's one way. And then also I have a free challenge, a free 30-day challenge where we go into not each, because there's a lot of yoga sutras, I think 196. So we get into 30 of, not the main sutras, but just 30 sutras that I chose, and really get into how to take yoga off of your mat and into your life. So Melly will share that with you.
Yes, and I'm definitely going to participate too. So, members, let's participate together and really kick off January on a good start.
Definitely.
And I will leave your links to your Facebook group and your Instagram, and anything else you want to share, I will pop that in there. Thank you so much, Crystal. It's a pleasure chatting with you always.
Same to you.
We will see you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.